Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sisters. I am your man and resident Washington football fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report. Training camp coverage continues here on the LouieTeeNetwork. Thank you for joining me. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Lot to get to today. Ron was very thorough in his presser after practice, and some good questions were asked. And generally, that's how you get good responses. So a lot to chew on from what Ron had to say after practice today. But I did want to read a tweet that I received earlier from a viewer that I talk to quite often on socials. And I thought it was a pretty good tweet. So I want to read it to you guys. It's from at Bove_Geo, my man Geo Bove. And he says, at LouieTeeNetwork, here's a quick list of notable stuff. Number 1, Terry is the real deal. Number 2, Logan Thomas might be a stud. Number 3, Apke is better than we thought, and he hits hard. Number 4, Haskins is looking good. Number 5, Jaron Christian is left tackle number 1. Number 6, Daron Payne is killing it, should start. Number 7, Cam Sims will be on the team. So let's quickly go through those 7 items that my man Geo Bove brought up to me on Twitter. Thank you for the tweet at Geo or at Bove_Geo. Number 1, Terry's a real deal. I think we all agree with that assessment. I think this is the year that he proves that he is legit and the real deal, because teams are going to be looking to stop Terry McLaurin. I think we kind of saw that towards the end of last season, but even still, teams really didn't focus in on Terry like they're going to this year. I think teams are going to come into the game saying, we got to stop 17 and make someone else out there beat us because we don't think they have anything else. So he's really going to have to show that he can get it done at a high level. But I think we feel like he is, in fact, the real deal. Number 2, Logan Thomas might be a stud. That remains to be seen. But I will say this. Another day, another touchdown for Logan Thomas from Dwayne Haskins. Those two, remember, we talked about this yesterday. Rivera himself talked about it yesterday, that these two are starting to really have a good rapport with one another. We see that again today. Another touchdown from Logan Thomas in the red zone from Dwayne Haskins. So those two starting to really get acclimated and comfortable with one another. And maybe Logan Thomas might be better than we thought, but a stud, I think that's taking it a little bit far, especially having not seen him in a burgundy and gold uni quite yet and really being featured as the starting tight end. We really haven't seen that from him throughout his career, whether Buffalo or Detroit. So we're going to see what this guy is all about. I will reserve judgment on Logan Thomas, but I will not dismiss him as I did in the past. Number 3, Apke is better than we thought, and he hits hard. Again, another one of those that remains to be seen. They're giving Troy Apke a chance, which is all I really ever asked for him anyway, was to get an opportunity. Never really felt like he got a chance. They kept bringing guys in to keep him as just a core special teamer. Never really gave him an opportunity, but in this league, also, you need to take opportunities. And I don't know if he was ever prepared to be a starter before. I don't know what was happening. Everything that happened before under the last regime, you can just dismiss that because we have no idea what was going on. Practice at times wasn't even practice. So Troy Apke getting an opportunity, I'm happy to see it. Let's see what he does with it. I think it's a more probably a more feasible position to take at this point rather than saying he's better than we thought. We're going to find out if he's worthy of the 3rd round pick the Washington football team spent on him 3 years ago. Number 4, and yes, he does hit hard. Apparently, speaking of hitting hard, he had a massive hit on Terry McLaurin. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Number 4, Haskins is looking good. He's looking better. He did not have as good a day today as he had the previous 2 days. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But Haskins is a guy that we believe in. We just want to see it for 16 games. And I think he's going to prove that once and for all, he belongs as this team's starter moving forward. But Haskins has performed well in training camp to this point, and he's learning. That's the biggest thing. Number 5, Jaron Christian is the left tackle number 1. Yes, that is a fact. And I don't think that's going to change before September 13th when the Washington football team takes on the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 6, Daron Payne is killing it. He should start. I don't know if he's killing it in camp or not. I know Jack Del Rio absolutely loves what Daron Payne can do in his system. Feels like Daron Payne was grossly misused under the last regime. And so I think Daron Payne, to them, is going to be the guy that could have the biggest jump and leap this season in terms of production because of what he'll be allowed to do in this scheme versus what he wasn't allowed to do with the last group. And so we'll see what happens. I surmise that he's going to end up starting, but we've talked about who was running with the ones. Everybody's running with the ones these days. So when it's all said and done, I think it's still going to be the Bama wall inside of Payne and Allen, and I think it's going to be Sweat and Young on the outside. Maybe Young doesn't start off the season, snap number 1 as a starter. Maybe it's Kerrigan. But again, eventually it'll be Sweat on one side, Young on the other in terms of starting off games. But number 7, Cam Sims will be on the team. I was going to talk about that today, and I found that very interesting that you brought it up. I was going to exactly say the same thing, the exact same thing. Cam Sims is making this team. And I was listening to Ron Rivera on a radio program that he was on about a week ago, and he was asked about sleeper players and some players that, fans may not really be thinking about, may not be in their consciousness, but these are guys that really impressed you throughout camp, and you really feel like these guys are better than maybe you initially thought. Who are some of those guys? And he ran off a list of players, and he ran off both of the Sims boys, Steven and Cam. So that's a good look for Cam Sims because we knew Steven Sims wasn't going anywhere. And I don't think Washington football fans were sleeping on Steven Sims, but maybe the outside public, and we've talked about that, don't know much about Steven Sims. But he ran off the Sims boys. He said KPL at linebacker. He said Troy Apke at safety. And I think he mentioned Montez Sweat as well. As another guy that, I don't think us as fans are sleeping on him as much as he feels like all this attention and praise is going to Chase Young, and rightfully so. This guy's going to be a stud in the league. But don't sleep on Montez Sweat. Like, all of this love for Chase Young shouldn't come at the expense of Montez Sweat. Don't sleep, and I've talked about not sleeping on Montez Sweat. Hell, we've talked about not sleeping on Montez Sweat. So those are names that Rivera mentioned as guys that are sleepers. I was going to say the same thing today on the show, that Cam Sims is going to make this football team. And I know that's music to a lot of your ears out there because there are a ton of Cam Sims fans on this team that think that this guy just needs an opportunity similar to Troy Apke. We'll see what he does. He's had some phenomenal catches. Probably his most noteworthy catch of camp to this point was a toe tapper that he had today at practice, back corner, back of the end zone, goes up, uses that 6'5" frame to pluck the football out of the air, needed every inch of that 6'5" frame to go up and get it. It was a high toss, snags it, back of the end zone, finds a way to get not only 1 but 2 feet inbounds. It was a gorgeous play by Cam Sims, and it's those types of plays, those kind of splash plays, and him showing off the ability to go get the football at its highest peak in the red zone that's going to help him potentially make this football team. So thank you for that tweet once again at at Bove_Geo. That being said, let's get to what Rivera had to say today. I thought he said some really good things. I want to start with a couple of rookies, a couple of the youngins, all right? I was wrong about one of them potentially making this team. Now, nothing's etched in stone, and no one's made the football team yet. However, I dismissed Cameron Curl. Remember, our 7th round picks, I wasn't thrilled with them necessarily, and I said, look, Cameron Curl, first of all, I wanted a different safety. So I felt like if you were going to go safety, there were opportunities to go safety in the 6th round, or even another guy that was available in the 7th at the time of the pick of Cameron Curl. But this guy seems to be catching the eye of head coach Ron Rivera. He made an interception today, did Cameron Curl, and this was one of the same plays that he was beat on earlier in camp, where he made a mistake, didn't get to his landmark on time, and gave up a touchdown. That same play kind of came back around today. he made up for the mistake he made earlier in camp by making an interception. And Rivera said the same thing that old man Callahan said about Dwayne Haskins last year, is that here's a rookie that doesn't repeat the same mistake over again. And that's something that coaches love. And we see it at the combine every year. How many times do they have to tell you how to do something? Those are things that they look at. When they explain the drill at the very beginning, when everybody circles around, if they have to tell you again, it means you have trouble comprehending or you're not really good at listening. All right. And so, again, these are all little things that you don't really think about. But guys, coaches love when they tell you something once, you get it, and are able to then take it and display it on the field. And so Cameron Curl is a guy that they said, Rivera said, look, he's bigger than we thought he was. When we drafted him out of Arkansas, and this guy is a lot more talented and smarter than we thought he was coming to the team as well. One of those guys that doesn't duplicate mistakes. We really like what we've seen from him. So maybe Cameron Curl has an opportunity. Remember, safety is one of those positions on the roster. It really isn't locked up. There aren't any guys outside of Landon Collins right now, and really DeShazer or Everett are the two guys that I look at and say, okay, you're probably going to have those guys on the team. Troy Apke, you add him to the list now, but before this season and training camp and Apke getting all this run with the ones, you were lukewarm at best on Troy Apke, and if he had gotten cut, you wouldn't have thought anything of it. So, DeShazer Everett has been the consummate professional, the guy that has always been ready to come in if he's pressed into service as a backup, a credible one. And he's also a core special teamer. So I didn't think he was going anywhere. But, I always felt like there was some competition brewing at safety. And maybe Sean Davis isn't safe. I mean, remember, 1-year deal for Sean Davis. It's not like they signed him to a massive contract. So haven't heard a lot about Sean Davis. I don't think he's getting cut, but we'll see what happens. Cameron Curl is a guy that I feel like this is a really unique offseason in the sense that your late round draft picks that don't necessarily make your football team, because there's no preseason and other teams aren't able to see these guys performing and there is no tape out there on them in an NFL game, you should be able to sneak your stuff onto your practice squad. So if you're the Washington football team, instead of cutting a veteran like Sean Davis that will probably get scooped up off of waivers, you would more likely cut Cameron Curl knowing you could sneak him onto the practice squad and still have him available if necessary. So I don't think he's going to make the team. I'm going to stick with my initial assessment there, but he has done a lot more than I was giving him credit for coming into the league out of Arkansas as a 7th round pick. Also, Keith Ishmael is a guy that I want to talk about, is another rookie that Rivera talked about during his presser. And this is one of the more interesting nuggets that we got from Rivera today. Remember, today was helmet and shells. All right, so no thigh pads, no pads from the waist down. Only shells and helmets. So, again, one of those practices where you're not expecting a lot of big hits, a lot of collisions. You want guys to stay on their feet, not looking for a lot of physical contact, if you will, with shells on. However, I was intrigued by the fact that he said, hey, look, we're moving guys around. And remember, we've talked about that. They're moving guys around everywhere. Every position is getting a facelift, and they're just tossing guys in, seeing how they respond to being here or being there. But you remember, we talked about this 3 days ago, how Rivera challenged Wes Martin at guard and said, look, here's Thomas Davis over here. Here's Adrian Peterson over there. These are veterans that know how to work. Hey, a guy like you, Wes Martin, who's getting an opportunity, you can't waste these types of opportunities. You got to take advantage of it. You got to work hard every day. And so that led me to believe that he wants someone to really push Wes Martin for the guard position. But I said, Wes Schweitzer is injured. There's really nobody there to really push him. And so by default, Wes Martin is your guy at left guard. Not so fast, my friends. He talked about Keith Ishmael getting some run with the ones today at guard. He also talked about Wes Martin getting some run at center today with the first team. So they're moving around pieces now. Again, I'm not saying that that's what they're planning on doing. These types of moves are also them planning in case of an emergency. And during the course of the game, and Rivera has talked about this since the day he got here, about positional flexibility and versatility. Guys that can play multiple positions, especially along the offensive line, because on game day, you're only carrying 8 offensive linemen more likely than not. A swing tackle, a guard, really 2 guys on the interior that can play multiple positions. So you might have one center, and you may have a guard that can also play center but play both guard positions, and a swing tackle. That's essentially what you're bringing to the table on game days. So you need guys that have positional flexibility, that can kick inside the guard, that can play center. And so they're moving Keith Ishmael around. Want to see what this guy can do at guard. He's more naturally a center by trade, but he did play some guard at San Diego State as well. So they're moving him around, wanting to see what he can bring to the table. And if he performs well, who's to say? Maybe we hear about more Keith Ishmael at guard. We'll see what happens. I still surmise that Wes Martin is the guy at left guard, but they also tried Wes Martin at center. And you know, don't be foolish and thinking that, look, Chase Roullier is going to be up for free agency here shortly. You know, if Chase Roullier has a market and they feel like that's a little bit too much money to spend on a center, they'll just move on from him, and a guy like Wes Martin may be able to slide in there. You never know. They're planning for the future, and they're also planning for the here and now. So that was probably one of the biggest takeaways for me. Very interesting to hear Rivera talk about some guys playing with the ones at different positions and really having that whole competition thing be fostered with more guys getting opportunities. Speaking of guys getting opportunities, we had 2 corners out today at practice working on the side field. Fabian Moreau, you all know Fab Moreau went down. We talked about that 2 days ago in practice, did not practice yesterday, was on the side field today along with Kendall Fuller. I don't even know what happened to Kendall Fuller, but he was on the side field as well. So that gave more opportunities to some young guys, most notably Greg Stroman and Jimmy Moreland. I'm going to tell you right now, Coach Rivera loves him some Jimmy Moreland. Can't get him enough of the people's corner. Every time he talks about Jimmy, a smile appears on his face, and he either starts laughing or he's got a big grin on his face. He loves him some Jimmy Moreland, and it's because Jimmy is a character one. He said Jimmy is always confident. He's so confident. Like, coach, put me in. I'm going to make a play. And Rivera loves that. But also, he said Jimmy's just always around the ball. He's got a knack for being around the action. And same thing can be said for Sean Dion Hamilton. We've said the same thing about SDH, which is why we want him in more. I'm going to go ahead and make a statement. I think some of you already felt this way. I don't think I've ever made this statement. But SDH is making this football team, okay? And he's going to play a ton. And now I know that's something a lot of you wanted to hear as well. We'll talk more about it on Thursday night. There's so much more to talk about. We will not have a show tomorrow. Why? Because the team is off tomorrow. So no practice tomorrow. They'll resume practice on Thursday. Well, they'll actually be practicing at FedEx Field. So I'm thinking that's going to be a high-intensity practice. However, that's also going to be helmet and shells. So you don't expect a lot of contact, but as we saw today, just because it's helmet and shells doesn't mean you're not going to get a lot of contact. Speaking of which, Troy Apke, who has been lighting up anything moving this camp, hit the wrong guy today in Terry McLaurin over the middle of the football field, helmet-to-helmet contact. Had it been a regular season game, he would have been flagged and fined for that hit. Helmet flew off for Terry McLaurin, but both guys were able to get up and walk away and did not miss any action. But it was a gruesome hit, one that drew the ire of Ron Rivera, who said, look, it's football. These things are going to happen, as he said yesterday with some of the big hits that we talked about. But he said, look, you got to understand that we're in helmet and shells. Got to know the situation, and you have to defer to the offense in these situations. You cannot have these types of hits. And then he took it a step further. He said, you got to know who the hell you're hitting. Okay, now he didn't say it that way, but his tone changed when he said, and you got to know who you're hitting. And translation, that's our best receiver. You can't do that to Terry McLaurin, okay? You can do that to Jordan Vesey, all right? You can do that to, Jester Way. You can't do that to Terry McLaurin, all right? So he's got to understand. He said, and I'm going to talk to Troy about that. So bottom line is, He loves the aggression, and I said that yesterday. I said it the day before. He loves the aggression, but there's a time and a place for everything. It's hard to turn that switch off when you're a football player, man. You see that ball in the air, and I've always said, and wise men have always told me, if it's in the air, it's mine. So Troy's looking at that rock and thinking, why can't I go get it? Why can't I go make a play? And next thing you know, it's up high. Everybody's exposed. Boom, helmet-to-helmet contact. But like I said, luckily, nobody was harmed in the making of that play. And so everybody was able to get up and walk away. So that's some more physical contact from Troy Apke, who has been a standout in camp. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, Rivera has mentioned him as one of his sleeper players this year. So Troy Apke is a guy getting a lot of run. J.D. McKissic and Dwayne Haskins stayed after practice today. This was not one of Dwayne's sharpest days today. As a matter of fact, he finished up the day with a pick six to Landon Collins, who took it the distance. A wise man once told me, if you're going outside and you're late, it's 88 and out the gate the other way. And so you got to find a way to put the football outside shoulder of the receiver you're targeting, and you can't be late. All right. And so Dwayne was not only late, and Rivera said, look, it was the right decision. It was just a bad ball, and he was late. Got to be faster with that decision, and got to have better ball placement, especially when you're throwing out-breaking routes. And so those two stayed after practice to work on that, and Rivera actually stayed after practice with them as well. And my takeaway from that isn't, oh, Dwayne made a mistake, glad to see him after practice. My takeaway is Dwayne's your starting quarterback. If I'm the head coach, I'm not staying after practice with a backup quarterback because he made a mistake in practice. That's not what I'm doing. I'll tell the positional coach, hey, go out there and straighten that out with him. I'm not doing that, though. I'm not staying outside with a running back that's not making the football team in J.D. McKissic. J.D. McKissic is making his football team. Okay, but I've already told you that, but I'm doubling down on it and explaining to you my rationale here as if Ron Rivera didn't have confidence in either one of these players, I'm not sticking around and giving extra time to these guys after practice has met its conclusion. So those two stayed, worked on that outbreaking route. I saw some footage on that. And good to see those guys taking the initiative because Ron didn't ask them to do that. They did that on their own. And because he saw them doing that, he decided to stick around and actually help assist with that. So that was good to see. Also got to see some running back agility drills. And I'm here to tell you that the guy with the most agility on this football team at the running back position isn't Antonio Gibson, isn't AD, and it isn't Bryce Love. It's J.D. McKissic. And it was funny because Rivera was talking a couple of days ago and he said, you know, it was just a throwaway line. He was like, hey, you know, when these backers aren't tackling and you're running to the football, he says one of the things you miss when you're in practice because we don't want guys going to the ground is that linebacker in the right position? Is he going to overrun the play? Is he going to make the tackle? You don't really get to see that because they're just running by and kind of touching the running back. You don't want anybody on the ground. And he said, you know, if you're coming too fast and you don't break down, you know, a guy like J.D. McKissic is going to make you miss. He didn't say Bryce Love. He didn't say AD. He didn't say, you know, Gibson. He said J.D. McKissic. And the reason he said that, I think subconsciously, is because J.D. McKissic is the guy with the most wiggle. And you can see that. He's the guy that has the most loose hips. I just thought I'd mention that anyhow. But nonetheless, really eventful day at practice. Again, Dwayne Haskins threw a pick six to wrap up practice. Another interception from Kyle Allen today. Cameron Curl caught that one. So he continues to struggle at practice. But as Rivera said, he's a young quarterback. He's still learning. And a lot of good stuff from Rivera and practice today. Also, I wanted to quickly say that on Thursday, got us some juicy stuff to talk about there as well. Heard from Chase Young for the first time as a Washington football team member. He had a post-practice presser. Also heard from Jaron Christian for the first time. He had some really intriguing things to say. Can't wait to do our Coach and Player Speak segment on Thursday night, along with Inside the Pictures and much more. So make sure you join me live on Thursday night for Washington Football Report Live. In the meantime, though, I am a Washington football fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington football team. Again, no practice tomorrow, so no training camp updates for you, but we will be back Thursday with a full breakdown of training camp and then some on the Redskin or the Washington Football Report Live Thursday night, 8:30 p. Look forward to seeing you guys there. In the meantime, enjoy yourselves, take care of yourselves, and we will reconvene at a later date and time. Unless something else transpires, you'll see me on Thursday night. You guys have a good one. Take care. LouieTeeNetwork.